Hi, welcome to both of you, first of all. And so this is an Ask Me Anything session featuring our alumni from the Masters of Public Policy program at Cordelia School of Public Policy. So KSPP has been gaining traction and recognition for its commitment to developing leaders in the public policy domain. Graduates from KSPP learn key analytical and practical skills necessary to address complex policy challenges. So this evening, we have the privilege of engaging with two professionals who were in the inaugural batch of KSPP, the 2021-2023 batch. And so I'll just directly go to the speakers. Teres, we have Teres joining us. Teres, a member of the inaugural Masters in Public Policy or cohort of 2023. She was an undergraduate. She has an undergraduate in Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics, after which she joined KSPP. During her time at KSPP, she worked at the intersection of climate policy, just transition, nature-based solutions, and carbon markets. She also interned at the Council on Energy, Environment, and Water. After completing her postgraduate in 2023, she joined CEW as a consultant. Currently, she is working as a research assistant, carbon markets at the Asia Society Policy Institute. We also have with us Vinaya Bharam, yet another accomplished alumna from the first cohort of Kautilya School of Public Policy. Vinaya joined the institution after having worked for 3 years at the American Political Science Association and Lewis Clark College. She holds a bachelor's degree in international relations and affairs. A vocal advocate of gender equality and women empowerment, Vinaya was an active member of the Gender and Policy Club during her time, uh, and the Social Empowerment Club also. After completing her MPP course, Vinaya joined the Impact Solutions Lab as a program manager. Uh, she is currently working as a senior program manager at the organization. So, with that, I'll just go to both of you. Like, any first thoughts, anything that I missed out on, you would like to add?
No, I think you were perfect. Thank you for inviting us.
Vinaya, anything?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
All right. With that, I just go directly to Vinaya and ask her because she was a member of the Social Empowerment Club and also the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Club. Uh, any first thought how how those clubs shaped your thought process and your career trajectory? Like, what did you learn from those encounters? Having so you're coordinating with so many people, talking to them on a daily basis, and getting to know such a diverse cohort because Cortelia offers a very diverse space. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so I mean, I had come to Cortelia with interest in gender. So we were like obviously the founding members of at least gender and policy club. And for us, it was a club of like obviously like-minded people who wanted to learn from each other's perspectives. Um, and because I always knew that I want to work in the intersection of gender and uh, development sector. So I knew that, this is where I will get to learn from my peers who have had different experiences and have different perspectives. And we were also able to invite feminist speakers or people who are working in the domain to talk to us, to talk to the cohort. And I think those experiences I took with me to the work I do now. And I think when it comes to social empowerment club, for me, it was basically making sure that the work I would do in the future would always have a lens of intersectionality. And because it's complex and you can't really think in one. Your gender lens has to be also intersectional. So I feel like that is what like I think social empowerment club for me was that it was serving as a reminder of how I should always be thinking from that lens. So those clubs, along with obviously everything else I learned at Cortilla, from in terms of my perspective and approach to my work, is how I feel like those clubs contributed to my career or what I do right now.
You raised a very valid point, about the intersectionality and how policy interacts with intersectionality and a diverse set of people, stakeholders you bring into the perspective. So with that, I'll go to Theris. Theris, since you are working at an organization that uh, accommodates various different socio-cultural, political, economic backgrounds and its understanding to make policy making. Could you tell us how did the Cordelia experience shape your understanding of these processes, the different cultural context, political economy as we talk about it, and how does that shape your decision making in your job role?
Thank you, Ashik. I think, to be very honest, I came to Cordelia with a very explorative mindset. I just wanted to learn a lot of things and do a lot of stuff and to be a part of everything. So I joined the student council. I started clubs. I became part of many of the clubs, like Vinaya mentioned, learn from my peers. So what happened was, through that process, I learned not only to take decisions, but also to be part of the process and also to accept decisions taken by others. So I think uh, those are the skill sets, a soft skill set that I learned. From a very academic background, if you say first year was very intense academically, I built strong foundation on what public policy means, learn how to analyze policies, to assess the impact of policy, how to approach research systematically. I keep on like to go back and go to the methodology. I mean, still I do that. I mean, if it's something is not working, you go back, read how good methodologies are written, and then redefine your problem statement, and to continuously improve those things. I think these are skill sets which can be used across problems and across institutions. I mean, wherever across organizations that you go to. Yeah, and I think beyond academics, with the what Cortelia I think offered. We were exposed to uh, lot of different course types of subjects, people. So with that came a lot of learning curves, I believe. So one of the most valuable lessons that I learned was how to engage with people effectively. To be very honest, how to brainstorm, how to develop ideas, how to construct elaborate plans, only for your professors to find loopholes and to give you better ideas on how to improve on them. Yeah, and I think to start with, I'll say that those are the things that Quarterly offered me that I still take forward today.
Without the risk of repetition, I'll just draw Vinaya into this question. So, anything that stands out during your time at Cordelia, like any of the courses, maybe from even from the electives or anything, the two courses that you enjoyed doing, and what did you learn from them, and do you apply them on a daily basis, like in your job?
Um, because again, I work in the in gender sector, and I feel like one of the courses that I was very fond of, and then I later TA'd for also, was the skill shop called Understanding Gender. And it was, I think, in our second trimester or third trimester, um, and I feel like no matter like how much you like just hear on social media or you read up here and there, there is so much value in studying gender, right? So we were that skill shop, though it was only I think 10 hours, we really we dwelled into like the some of the policies that are like made from the gender lens. But I think what my major takeaway for this particular course was that how like how when policies are made, only policies for the oppressed genders are made using gender lens, and how rest of the policies aren't, as if they don't affect the people of like anybody but men for that matter. So I feel like thinking from that lens that began, I feel like, in understanding gender. And I was one of the few students who took there was a gender policy and some, I don't exactly remember the elective's
Yes,
name,
yes, yes.
which I know a lot of people in your batch took.
Yeah, we had
I
that.
think I still cite it to a lot of people when I'm talking about these issues, even at work, right? What like as my favorite class, um, because that class was a seminar and we were all reading policies, we are reading these research papers, these very insightful uh, writings by people and also on policies, and then coming and discussing and analyzing them together. And I felt like that I always took with me. And I feel like that is a course that I will never forget, just because what I learned and how the perspectives and the approaches it taught me is how what like they're always in back of my mind when I'm doing work right now in the with like girls from marginalized communities. So I feel like I always take those learnings, though they are not like very hard skills. It's about how I approach issues and how I approach also solutions to the problems.
Absolutely. The gender course, we also in our cohort, we had it. And so a lot of us opted for it. And it was an extremely eye-opening moment, like how discourses work and how things are written in the policy documents and analyzing them and looking at it from a intersectional perspective. That is something that we learned also. With that, Teres, I'll come to you. Would you like to briefly, because Cortelia offers us not just a spate of core courses, a lot of electives, but also it has its very unique programs, and one being the mentorship program. Could you briefly tell us about what the mentorship program is and how did it shape you as an individual? How did it contribute to your journey? And how was your, like interactions with your mentor different? And did it contribute to your thought process?
Sure. So what mentorship program meant was in Cortelia, each of the student get assigned to one of the mentors from the Cortelia's mentors list. Now, these mentors are usually people who have brilliantly performed in their careers. Uh, Apart from that, are generally very good people. So to have a nice conversation with. So there's a small process that the idea is to find the perfect fit. I mean, for a mentee and a mentor. So there's a process that Cortelia follows, and then you get to choose few of your favorites, and then based on your luck and the algorithm, you get assigned one of the mentors. I was lucky enough to get Sharmila Chawli ma'am as my mentor because when I googled her, because I did not know her before, when I googled her, she had done some work in the climate space, which intrigued me. And back then, I was very new to this space, so I wanted to learn what and whys of how climate policy works, how climate finance works. So for me, that was the reason I chose her. Had good interactions with her when she did guide me when I was planning to intern at one of the organizations. She did guide me after during my capstone project also. Even as a matter of fact, I mean, I do have conversations with her later on after I left Cortelia. Still, I do continue to have conversations with her. Beyond that, I think because that's it's a expansive list of mentors. I did have good conversation with other mentors. I mean, you can always reach out to them. Sure, you might not get dedicated time hours with them, but I did reach out to Uday Besaranda sir. I mean, he's been very kind. Had good conversations with him. Yeah, so that would be the gist of the mentorship program and my experience.
All right. Vinaya, so the mentorship program is one such program from the part of the institution. Then we also have the internship program after the end of first year. Like you learn all the courses that you go through, and you now it comes to applying it on ground and understanding. So could you briefly walk us through your internship experience? How did it shape, your thought process, and how did it contribute to your curve over as a journey, to join the current organization that you're working?
Yes. So just to give a little bit also more information, um, you also get like college credits for it. So it's a credit internship. So not only you gain like actual practical work experience, but you also get academic credits. And because you also have to submit like a report after your internship. So I think it was around this time, 3 years ago. when I think we were all looking for internships, and luckily, because of Cortelia's partnership with ISL, where I currently work, they had offered internship for Cortelia students, and I was one of the students who applied, and I got the role. And since then, I haven't left ISL. So I'm obviously, and because I start while during the internship I wasn't doing the work I'm currently doing, but it was very rewarding because it was a startup, and it didn't have a lot of people, while it was like operating in some well, not even some cities, mostly online. As an intern, I got to contribute a lot, not just on all of the work that was assigned to me, but I was also able to give a lot of ideas, and my ideas were actually valued, incorporated. And so it was a great experience because not only I got to work with like great people who I got to learn a lot from, but also then gave me an opportunity to continue working with them part time and do my capstone with the organization. So I guess if it weren't for Cortelia's partnership with I don't think I would be doing the work I'm doing today. So Cortella has been like, I guess, the biggest catalyst in my professional journey that has started since Cortella. So uh, I'm like, I guess I'll always be grateful to Cortella for that.
That was really insightful, and thank you for that answer, long, detailed answer. Teres, I would like to, you talked about the hard skills and the soft skills. So, since you are working in an organization with an international exposure with your research role, uh, can you tell us about some major key skills that a student coming into Cortelia, like in the first years or our second years, should work regularly on, and should like try to, how do you manage implement those skills, you effectively manage a lot of stakeholders while performing your research. So what would some of the skills would be, like that students must hone from day one?
That's a very interesting question and a little difficult one, because many a times what you learn within a classroom setting might not be the one that you're using directly in a, say, a professional setting. However, I think the thing you learn how to self-manage yourself in the first and 2 years. First, I mean, Vinaya was my roommate. She saw me the 2 years from scaring to being scared how to save a PDF file to now then handling reports, like 200-page reports and all. So I think that's the learning curve that you go through. With respect to skills, to be very honest, the school won't teach you everything. I mean, that's a hard fact. You go to any school, they won't teach you exactly, I mean, anything and everything that a particular role would want. That is something you'll have to keep on updating yourself. Um, for example, during my time, some of the courses were not offered that you guys are being offered right now. So when that is something that the school and the students eventually figure out, correct? And that's a good thing. Because there's a learning curve and there's also an opportunity. Yeah, the school will offer electives which are in demand. So I, I think if you learn how to manage yourself in a manner that you have time and space to do your coursework, you have time and space to engage with people, so that you learn how to engage, you learn how to network, and then you have dedicated time so that you learn skills on how to sit and do research, to keep on reading. Like Ashik, you mentioned today, like the budget came out yesterday, the survey came out, economic survey came out. You sat and you studied that. I mean, those are the skills that you then learn during these 2 years, because it is a rigorous course. You can't come here thinking that you will get 8 hours of sleep. I mean, to be honest, none of us did that or got that. So yeah, you learn how to push yourself. I think that's what I'll say.
Coming to, pushing yourself. So second years now, we are on the verge of doing our capstones. So that is a very rigorous experience, talking to a lot of organizations and reaching out to them, and then finally coming at a topic, understanding a research gap and coming at a topic. If both of you could actually chime in a bit, tell us about your research experience and obviously about the entire capstone thing, like because after the internship and also the mentorship experience, there's a capstone project that we work on. A final dissertation is something that is very unique to Cortelia, and the way it is like it has been structured, working with an organization or doing an individual research. Either it allows you, it makes a segment into the job, like into the market, or for people who want to pursue PhDs, they can, after doing an entire research work, they can get into PhD. So if both of you could actually tell us a little bit about your personal experiences related to your capstones, and any tips and pointers about it. Vinaya, if you could start.
Sure. So I think I both Therese and I joined organizations, though they were very different in nature. I Mine was a project based capstone and not research. So I was designing a program for the organization, which is the Adira Academy, now it is called. And it is basically a program for girls from underprivileged background. And the project was basically trying to connect these, very bright girls from underprivileged background to like the best universities in the world and trying to prepare them for like the careers of the future. So I was designing that program for the organization, um, and for the academic component of what the requirement then for Kautilya, the variation of that was what became my capstone report. So I was actually doing the work and then writing about it for the academic requirement. And yeah, it was very rewarding because it did become its own thing, and now it's like a program running for 3 years. So I would say, yeah, I would say it was a great capstone experience because I got to work on it, and it was like a child that was born then. And so it was great. I just, obviously, I always wish that I would have written it better than the kind of work I produce. But well, because you work also, you have to write also, you have to talk to people also. So it was a crazy 3 4 months. But yeah, I would not trade it for anything else because of like where the capstone has reached now.
Congratulations, Vinaya. I think
Thank
that's
you very
some
much.
brilliant work. I mean, to be honest, I mean, going a little sidetrack, the day we met, she had mentioned her dream, like she wants to do something. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant to see, like she achieving that and doing that. Coming to my capstone, I want to do something on the in the climate space. I did not know what to do, but in my fourth trimester, I believe, I did uh, come across nature-based solutions, and I had done my internship previously, which exposed me on emission trading systems and carbon markets a bit. So I thought I'll just merge the two. Uh, but I really found those two topics very interesting, and I started reaching out to organizations. For my luck, then CW was starting a project on that, and if anyone is interested, day before yesterday, that report did release with Odisha government. So if anyone is interested, go read that report on green economy. Yes, so I did my project with CW, my capstone with CW, because they were looking for someone uh, who knew a bit about nature-based solutions. And yeah, I simultaneously wrote because the organization was big and had expertise in different areas. I did reach out to other people within the organization who had expertise in carbon markets, not just nature-based solutions, and how carbon market worked. They introduced me to other people with more expertise. So I think in that manner, I did learn a lot about these areas, and then I tried to narrow it down to what was my problem statement or the question that I was trying to address through the capstone. Again, gave me because I had done this internship also while I was doing capstone. gave me work ex, which I did not had previously joining Cortelia. Also gave that momentum within that organization. They also knew me, so then I continued working with them after my course here at Cortelia. Yeah, so I think it's a win-win situation because 3 months you get to learn to do what you want to do, but you also get credits also, but you also get to work with the organization. So I think it's a win-win for everyone.
With that, we actually have a question from Priyanka Bharadwaj, who is basically the first half of the question will be interesting for both of you. So she asks, is the course tailored to specific policy interests? So this basically brings us to the electives that we have, the verticals. Maybe if you could talk us through the verticals that you majored in, and if you could like any reason and rationale for choosing those verticals, and if you could talk us through the process, maybe.
Sure. So, I don't exactly remember the names of different specializations that you can get at Kautilya, but based on your interest, policy interest, you can definitely choose your courses. So, like basically the electives that you take, and like a lot of electives then help you get a specialization in the particular domain. Um, I remember I wanted to get into, I think, the human rights one, but because I was not very, like, I realized that, like, obviously I could, but then there were so many interests that I had that I was taking courses because I wanted to learn.
Vina, I'll
So,
just take a moment and clarify just the five verticals that we have. The one that you're referring to, the international, it's now global affairs. It used to be global affairs and humanitarian, some diplomacy or something related to that, international diplomacy. We also have the business and government vertical, the economics for policy, the environmental, social and governance issues vertical, the ESG, and technology and society. So yeah, please go on.
yeah, so to me, like after a while, I realized that I wanted to do, like, I just wanted to do more multidisciplinary things. I ended up taking a lot of courses, but at the end, I still got a specialization because I realized I took most courses in international, whatever the policy specialization was. And I think it's because, like, even though I knew, because I had my bachelor's, I had done it in it, and it has always been a area where I know that I don't want to work in, but it's something that I'm really passionate about and I really like learning about. So my most of my courses were these IR related courses plus anything gender related courses that Cortella was offering. And then obviously, like, there was a public problem solving course also. So I just made sure that I was taking a lot of courses that were interesting to me, not basically thinking so much about, like, okay, I was thinking in the beginning. Then I was like, no, let's just take courses that are that sound interesting to me, the professors that I want to learn from. And so yeah, I think it gives it, if you want, you can go one direction, which a lot of people do. Like if you're into climate, you'll take certain courses. But if you're one of, like, people like me who just have so many interests and want to learn about different things, you can also then delve deeper into different domains also. So it gives you that flexibility. Do you want me to answer that second part of that question also?
Yeah, yeah, you can, please.
The course is full-time residential, so there are no options of part-time or online study. So if you decide to apply, you will have to go to the campus, live there for 2 years. And Teres, if you want to also add in.
Mm. No, I think you pretty much covered. The courses won't be tailored specifically to anyone's interest. However, for us, we had a 5 by 5 matrix elective, so we had 25 electives, and it varies from, like when I said, from education to war zone. I don't know. It's, we have big debates. We had public emerging security challenges. We had urbanization and planning. So I mean, you'll have a lot of topics to work, and within those topics, you can always like how I did. Whatever elective there was, I put climate in it. So so there is that opportunity. So even if the college won't give you a very specific uh, policy interest that you want to develop on, but within the ambit of that elective you can develop such assignments or your projects under them. So yeah.
That's an interesting perspective because, yeah, most of us, in our cohort also try to do anything related to like bring in tech, like especially I'm majoring in the tech vertical. And so I try to bring in tech in every aspect of it. So, yeah, now you have mentioned all the courses, the internship program, the capstone. And so I would like to, now networking is another part, like, yes, you did get your mentors. Networking was a major part of this entire experience, going out to those policy dialogues, having those debates, extensive brainstorming sessions that you mentioned also. And then in your capstone, you reach out to a lot of people to see which organization you uh, do your capstone with. So, any tips, pointers, as for the current Cortelia graduates or people who are looking to join this course, what are some of the learnings about networking that you have imbibed from your time in Cortelia?
I'll try to answer this question. Uh, I think for networking, one should not be afraid. Most of the people out there are nice. Most of the people. So if you are sending out 10 mails, 10 messages on LinkedIn, at least 6 or 7 of them will reply. And if 4 of them won't reply, it's okay. You send out 10 more emails. And similarly, is while you're meeting people. I mean, I think for many of us, especially for me, I think, I mean, someone like me who did not have work experience and did not have domain expertise, I was very much in my head, like, what should I even go talk to these people? I don't know, will my opinion stand? I mean, don't get too much in your head. Just go talk to people, uh, even if it is just a hi, hello. I read about your work. Yeah, I think that's basics of networking 101. Go ask them if you can help them out in some ways. I think that's also an excellent tip. Not always go ask if they can help you. Ask them if you can help them in a certain manner. Yeah, I think those are the two things I still follow. Otherwise, yeah, just be kind to other people. If someone is going to ask your help also, because remember that someone did help you out. So yeah, that's how I navigate networking. But yeah, networking is a ball game. Some people do excellently well. Some are still learning, like me. Yeah.
Uh, One thing that comes immediately after networking is the variety of speakers and especially the guest lectures that come to Cortelia. So you, in your time also, you had a various speakers from a lot of fields coming in discussing important events about it. Could you tell us mostly like what were your approach, like during this guest lectures or interacting with them? Would you reach out to them? How would you navigate, and what was this experience all about, the guest lecture experience as well?
So there were a lot of them. And to a point that now, if you ask me name one, I'm like, I don't know. There were too many people who came for me to remember all of them. But it was great experience because we were interacting or were able to ask questions to people who we have sometimes have only seen on like a screen, right? And here you are able to hear, not just hear them live, but you are hearing them, they're right in front of you. You have access to them, you are able to ask them questions that you would not imagine you would be able to ask. I remember even in the beginning at our, because it was also first year, we had KTR come in, we had like Omar Abdullah come in, and we were all, even though we were 3 years ago didn't have any of this experience, we were given the opportunities to ask them burning questions that us as youth of India had. And I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that experience. And I feel like for me, it was very interesting because I'm not one of those people who would like ask so many questions. And I'm not one of those people who's like out there and all that. So it was really interesting for me because it helped me go out of my comfort zone and also ask very important questions to all of the speakers. Um, though I feel like, like, and I think a lot of my classmates did was utilize them as a resource, not just for that particular session, but how they can be, uh, like, be helpful, or you can learn from them longer. So, though I didn't do a good job of networking at Cortilla, I know there are a lot of people who then went on and like kept in touch with these speakers, worked with them post that. And I feel like only, like, Cortelia offered that access to these, I guess, dignitaries, that I feel like I don't think a lot of public policy courses do that. So it's really good because these are the people who are doing, like, we are learning theories, but these are the people who are actually implementing and doing it practically. So to be able to hear from them, interact with them is like, I feel like what was amazing for us.
Just I'll take a second to chime in and then I'll go to Terrace about the same question. Is like we were very lucky as a cohort to have Raghuram Rajan come in, Montek Singh Aluwalia, and to interact with them and ask them questions, especially because I'm in the tech domain and these people are working actively, contributing to the not just like talking about Indian economy and providing policy recommendations about various things. So yeah, it was very interactive, and some of us actually have stayed in touch with a lot of the guest speakers that used to come in. Terrace, would you like to add something to this?
Uh, Not really. I think both of you just covered everything. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to sit and hear them. Many a times, the conversations that you have with them during in the classroom sparks an idea. You go speak to them. I mean, sure, like Vinaya said, there were 50, 60 speakers. You connect with few, you do not connect with few. But yeah, the very fact that you have this opportunity is rare, is unique, and I think people can leverage on them. Yeah, and many times you end up meeting most of them while you go work. Like first year, after completing my course, I think I met almost 10 of the speakers or faculty, visiting faculties outside during stakeholder meetings. So that was some crazy experience. Like, yeah, you taught me, yeah, you're a student. So yeah, that was fun. So I did meet a lot of my the speakers of the visiting faculties. So yeah.
So I'll go to another audience questions. We have Kashyap here wants to know what are the opportunities in terms of career prospects? Is it the case that only policy analysis roles are offered, or is there any genuine policy creation roles through government consulting? So Vinaya, Terrace, whoever wants to take this.
I'll take it, but Therese, you please chime in. So I'll tell you why I chose public policy, and I will, and hopefully that would also answer your question. The reason I decided to come to public policy, or specifically to Cortelia, because I saw the curriculum and I realized, okay, if I did this, I can go into corporate world, I can go into government consulting, I can also work in non-profit, and I can, probably start my own thing also, because it had just that many variety of things that I felt like I was going to learn. So from what I like, from what I also where my peers are from my batch, or where our juniors are, or where I guess now Oshik's batch would also go. I don't think majority of people are also in policy analysis roles. I know people who went into government consulting. Like there are roles now government offers that are like obviously lateral entries for people to actually go advise governments and like contribute in the actual policy making to obviously in in tech policy. And there are a lot of places now where you are also doing research, and obviously also doing policy analysis. But I think for me, and I think it still stands true, is the reason why public policy is a good course for anybody is because the kind of avenues it can open, and it's not like really limiting you to go into a certain sector. Therese, if you want to add anything.
Um, so to answer this question, policy analysis role or genuine policy creation, I think it's one or the same. I say this because even if you're working with, say, a non-government organization, but you're doing policy analysis, governments do come to you to give your perspective, and then those ideas are many a times taken up, become hardcore policies. Uh, Check out many of the policies done in the climate space. Many of the organizations work directly with Niti Aayog or state governments and do make policies for them. Like Vinaya said, there are opportunities. Like it's less right now, but I won't say less. I think many of our classmates are directly working in many of the verticals of the government, state government and center government. Some are directly working with MPs. If you and helping them out, and so you can say policy roles are there within the government consulting also. But also have to understand, you have to create expertise and that domain expertise through knowledge and through years of working, that you then get to work like hardcore policy with the government through consulting. Yeah, or UPSC. I don't know how to answer this question better.
All right. One more, like very underrated facet about Cortelia is like the diverse set of people that you come interact and sit down together. Like you, both of you refer to, like you don't get 8 hours of sleep. You have to, like, you brainstorm. You just sit, talk various policy solutions. You come up, or you are working on a research paper, or maybe it's an assignment or presentation that you have to make. Could you tell us some of the key skills that some initiatives or that you started with your friends, or some papers that you worked on with them, and things that you learned during that process? Because it's a very diverse cohort from Jammu Kashmir to Kerala. You find people almost from every other state there. Like in my cohort, we have more than 16 states. We are like 16 states are there represented in the cohort. So, what are some of the things that you learned from this diverse your diverse cohort?
With this diverse cohort, you learn a lot of things, starting from anger management to time management, uh, to sleep management. To start with, I found few classmates who were also interested in, say, climate policy. So we used to talk about that a lot. We ended up forming a club. I mean, we still do talk about what are the current policy issues or what are the new developments happening even today from then. Then you like from my roommates, I learned a lot of things from time management, uh, from how to uh, be part of different clubs, how to do assignments on time. I mean, Vinaya was A1 on that. She would submit her assignments at 8 o'clock. I was 11:59 group. So, yeah. And with respect to perspective, like everyone has their own journey, correct? Everyone has a take on different things. But you learn to respect each other's opinion, even though you might not agree with each other's opinion. Me and Vinaya were, I think, mostly in similar groups because B and T. So we were, I think, first year we were mostly in the same groups for different assignments. She took lead in many of the assignments, brilliantly conducted it. So I learned a lot of things from that. Yeah, I mean, these are skills you also take into your workspace, because you also work with people and you really can't punch people during in the office space. So I mean, to be very honest, yes, I mean, so these 2 years you learn a lot of these things. Like if you disagree politely, or you learn to make strong arguments, so that both of the parties then all the parties then come together and then make better presentations, because not every time your way is the right way. We might always think and live in that bubble, but that's not true. And that's how even government works, right? They'll come, you can present your beautiful on by the way, I read your policy brief on AI and the job one, really good, very good insights. So but government can come and say, no, we are going to come with this idea, and then you might have to change the perspective completely, correct? And you can't be bitter about it, because that's how it works. You want to work for the policy that you want to work with, and you want to see improvements. So yeah, these are the So that's what the diverse people and people with different skill set teach you.
Right. So we got a slew of, like in the last 3 minutes, we got three questions. So I'll just start because Teres, you or anyone like Vinaya, you can take this one. Especially Pranoy asks that he is interested in tech policy. What exactly like would his CV require to demonstrate for a first internship? So what would be basically the requirements for him to apply for an internship? I think that's what he means. For context, he is a third year student in a law school. So will publications help? Because publications is also a major part of our journey. Like we publish a lot of our issue briefs do get published if you write, do a good job at it. So would either of you like take this question and talk through it?
See, if I understand it correctly, for your first internship, what would you require in a CV, right? So I feel like that would really depend on what kind of internship it is. But if it is an internship, usually they are for you to gain experience. So I don't think for internship you require anything specific on your CV. But I'm sure probably like if you are, there are lots of organization also now that are like researching in tech policy, and so if you are applying to them, obviously your publications will help you. But I'm sure for internships, in my experience, I don't know how much prior experience is required, so I don't think you need, like, I guess if you're worrying, I don't think you should be worrying about whether or not you have enough experience. Same goes for if you're applying to Kautilya. I don't think your academic background in terms of what you have done, how much you have published matters before you come to Kautilya. It's about how much you are able to achieve and how much are you able to gain from your experience at Kautilya. That matters for your future. Unless Therese wants to say something about this.
Yeah, I mean, internships are ideally for that for you to gain experience. However, the truth is that there are a lot of us out there. I mean, students who want to apply for a certain role. So competition is there. That is why even for internships, they look for certain criteria that you have work experience, etc. But not all organizations have that. So you keep on applying. Uh, uh, and I think if you have more clarity on the topic and the type of work that you have, if you have a little bit of knowledge, and if you're able to show that to your organization where you want to do your internship with, I think that helps more. So CV, I started with zero when I joined Kautilya. I had no work ex, no internship experience. But I think if you can show the organization that you want to learn and these are the type of work or research work that you have done within Kautilya, I mean, at least the first year, these are the assignments that I did, these are the projects that I want to do, I think that will also help.
Yeah, also the courses you take, right? Like for if you're interested in tech policy, you want to go at an organization working in that domain, then like show them that you have also now learning about tech policy through your courses, right? You're writing, and the way Oshik was saying that how he brought in climate finance in everything that he wrote, or how Therese brought again climate, and how I got gender in everything that I was doing, for me to show that I'm interested in that particular thing. So I guess if you are really if you're really sure about tech policy or anything, then you should always try to keep it at the forefront of everything that you learn at Kautilya. And I feel like that would definitely help you.
With that, I would like to, since we are talking about internships, the admissions cycle, the second cycle is already open and it continues till 20th February 2025. And we have a question related to the admission procedure. So are there any specific evaluations or assessment tests that, or any recommendations that are required? Someone wants to know about that as well.
Okay, so there is no assessment, like there is no test that Kautilya conducts. It's more qualitative way of assessing whether somebody is fit for Kautilya or not. So there is an application form that has a lot of essays that you have to write. And it also requires, I'm pretty sure, at least one recommendation letter from a professor, or I don't know if it require. I think it's from a professor from your previous degree. to for the application also. And if you obviously clear that round, then you have a panel interview. And I think I'm this is what we had. I'm guessing it's how it is still there. So no test.
Yeah, they have added now it's two recommendations that you need to give. So
Oh.
we have another question about because we are living in a time that is very fractious. And so does political ideology, Kashyap wants to know, does political ideology play a role in your work? If so, is it a detrimental factor? Like anyone? Yeah.
I feel like that is a question. I feel like a political ideology question probably is a question for like somebody having a certain political ideology and is working for a certain government, but they don't really align with them. It's like a great question for them. But as for like my work, I do subscribe to a certain political ideology, but I do my best not to bring it in um, because I don't think it uh, I want to impose it on anybody. I, at least for the students that I work with, my goal is that um, they should form their own opinions based on what they know, what they study. They should also like obviously be able to critically analyze and all of them. But that doesn't mean that I should be imposing or like very sneakily kind of like expose them only to certain sort of narratives. So for me, um, like it's actually difficult not to do that, like difficult not to bring in political ideology in when I am working with young girls. um, but I do think it will be detrimental because that means they're not developing their own opinions, their own perspectives. So but I'm guessing that probably is not true for everything, because I feel like not just every organization, every kind of work is different. So I don't think that is a question that can be like I don't think it can have a universal answer. It's very contextual.
Mhm.
Mm,
Absolutely.
I
There.
mean, it. I mean, for like when I said, everyone has their individual ideology, but it is the kind of work that you do within your organization and what kind of organizations it is. To be very honest, if it is a research-based organization, what type of what type of service are you catering, and what who is your audience? So it depends on that. Is it a detrimental factor? uh, could yes and no. I think yeah, totally depends on your audience, totally depends on the type of work that you're doing. So there are people who work with consultancies, political consultancies, they're working with them. There are people who are doing hardcore research, there are people who are doing PhD, so depends on the role.
All right. Yeah, so we have yet another question. So the student is a student of international relations and security studies, master's programs. She's interested in the master's programs. So she wants to know about the career options I have, especially regarding regarding public policy or in private sector. So she wants to know about the opportunities that one can get after completing the MPP course. Could you like either of you talk about it a little?
Yeah, I think Vinya can answer this because she has an IR background in IR.
Thanks, Harris. To be really honest, because I've not remained in the sector that I initially embarked on, but I do believe that there are opportunities in the IR and security studies sector just because of first of all, obviously, government is there. I know you, I guess, for that particular domain, I guess the best way to go is you actually become an IFS, like our dean was. But now there are organizations that work on international relations, international policy. A lot of multinational organization have international policy wings that you can be part of, and a lot of research think tanks that also work in international relations domain and security studies, and defense in just in general, like how defense works in India. I'm sure now there are more opportunities, though I'm not the best person to answer this question also.
I'll just like to pitch in here. I mean, yes, there are organizations like my organization, it has a vertical on IR, it has a vertical on geopolitics. So you can become an expert in that field of, like, even within IR, you can become an expert in South Asia, Middle East, etc. And many a times government do reach out to you for your expertise. So yeah, those are the kind of roles that I am aware of. To be very honest, maybe you can reach out to students within Cortelia who are studying right now in the current batch if you want to have more clarity. Thank you.
All right. With that, we are coming almost at the end of our discussion. So, any last piece of advice that you have for the current cohort, the ones that are graduating, the ones that are going for internships, and like anything that you would want to add for them?
I mean, I would say that make most of the time that you have gotten. I know Shik, yours is almost over, but whatever is left, make most of it, because when you are there, you don't realize how much you are learning, or like how much what you're learning is going to be useful to you in real life, because some of these things are not so they're not so evident, they're not so explicit. So make most of it, meet people, interact, network. Like Therese and I weren't very good. Therese was better than me, but network with people. Be like active and just like not just learn as much as you can. Meet people, join clubs, but also study and meet your deadlines and all of those things. But yeah, also have fun, because I feel like I'm sure Therese can attest, we also had a lot of fun at Cortelia. So keep also having fun, because I feel like college life, you that kind of fun you won't get after you leave a Cortelia like space. So do that.
Yes, it is scary outside. I mean, the job market is not great. Uh, there are opportunities, so you will have to. I mean, this is advice for the current batch, so don't get scared. Other people, you'll have to create some kind of niche. You'll have to find what you want to do. So, but also have to do other things, like Vinaya said. You'll have to be very active. You'll also have to be keep on talking to your fellow classmates because many times they will bring opportunities to you. So your classmates are your resources, to be very honest. So have a very good relationship with them. All the very best for your capstone, Oshik, and to other students. Yeah, man, don't be afraid. I think that's what I'd say. It's okay to make mistakes. If first year did not go well, it's okay. You have another year to figure it out.
Thank you so much for that insightful information and session. And like, there's one last question which I'll answer, Rishiraj. So basically, you can reach out to the current cohort on LinkedIn. You just go on LinkedIn, type Cordelia School of Public Policy. You will find the page, and you can do subscribe to the page, and also find us there. You'll find a lot of students from the current cohort, the previous two cohorts as well. And both Vinaya and Teres, thank you so much for that. For like. Talking to us and for the in this Ask Me Anything session. You provided really valuable insights and perspectives. Like a lot of us are slowly starting to understand the dominance of public policy, and like how it is a slowly budding field that is going to take over a lot of our daily like corporate space, and also because with the government, as we talked about, lateral entries that being opened up. So yeah, conversations like these, help us understand how critical a policy professional's role is and how important it is. Like as Vinaya pointed out, social empowerment, gender, and also the international and climate space with, because what we are seeing, we are heading like to a climate, almost to a climate catastrophe. And so the terrace, the work that you do, and Vinaya, the work that you do on empowerment, that is helping provide equitable and effective solutions in two real world challenges. So thank you so much for this wonderful session. It was really really insightful to for all the people that tuned in. To everyone listening, we encourage you to stay connected with us and continue all these important discussions. There will be further AMA sessions down the road. So take advantage of this opportunity and learn and grow with Cortelia. Thank you so much for joining in once more. Thank you.